Welcome to the Duke It X podcast. I'm Stephen Lewis, and I'm a catalyst for positive change in communities and business. And for over 2 decades, I've inspired leaders and entrepreneurs to live and work on purpose with intention, faith, and a commitment to their well-being. And I'm joined today by my co-host, Kimberly Daniel. Hey, Kimberly.
Hey, Stephen. It sounded like you had a bit of a radio voice getting us started today. I am Kimberly Danielle, a community builder, a communication strategist, and a coach who comes from generations of faith-driven leaders and entrepreneurs who believe that our purpose should drive us all to contribute to the common good. Last season, we chatted with so many incredible leaders, heard a lot of wisdom, resources, valuable insights. So if you haven't listened to last season, go back. But also, if you haven't listened to last season, we have a treat for you. Because from time to time in this season, season 2 of this podcast, you'll hear us revisit some content from season 1 that we believe will continue to support you on your entrepreneurial journey.
So today, we're excited to revisit an important conversation. What it takes to build a purpose-driven business. Not just a strategy and a hustle, but the inner work that sustains you through the highs and lows. We share some of our own experiences and explore how mindset, faith, practices, and community support are essential ingredients for long-term success.
So, if you're listening in, you're an entrepreneur or you aspire to be an entrepreneur, this episode, it can offer you some really practical business insights and tips on how to stay grounded, how to build your resilience, and how to lean into the power of community as you grow and live into your vision.
So we hope you enjoy. Let us jump in. So in this brief episode today, we'd like to discuss a valuable and necessary topic for entrepreneurs who want to set themselves and their business up for success, which is your inner foundation for the journey, your North Star, the thing that you turn to that helps guide you even in the midst of uncertainty and maybe in the midst of receiving a lot of no's before you get to your yes. It is the thing that keeps you anchored and buoyed in the turbulence that you may feel in the entrepreneurial journey to let you know that you can, with perseverance, to continue to do what you need to do. So with that being said, what I would like to do is to dive in.
All right. So today we'll specifically focus on key elements to consider when you are looking at what your North Star is and what that solid foundation should be for yourself for this journey. And the first thing is mindset. That can be such a kind of a popular word that's used right now. And for us, when we're talking about mindset, we are specifically talking about the set of beliefs that shape how you view yourself and how you view the world. I recently read an article where an investor shared that mindset plays one of the most significant roles in the success of an entrepreneur. Get that, mindset. We're not talking about anything else. And we're not talking about your idea. We're not talking about who you are and the access that you have to networks. We're talking about your mindset. So it's not surprising because your mindset can lead you to these places and spaces that will yield that success. It can shift how you perceive yourself and set you up for success and create your reality. Last year, I also read a book called Mindset by Carol Dweck. It's a pretty popular book, came out a while ago. And for her, she's a psychologist and talks about mindset in 2 different ways, fixed mindset and growth mindset. I don't know if you heard about this, Stephen, or if you're familiar with this. And
No, I'm not.
For fixed mindset, that means that you are just accepting yourself for how that you are the way you are. Your gifts, your intelligence, your qualities is unchangeable. And this often can impact and impede your success and ability to flourish because you just think that you just are the way you are. Nothing's going to change. But when you're thinking about a growth mindset, it's the belief that your abilities can be developed, can your actions or the ways you've been conditioned can shift through dedication and hard work to create something different. So where do you find yourself in this framework? Though there's so many ways to view mindset. But I think what's most important is that your mindset pushes you forward and doesn't pull you back. And even when you hit moments of being pulled back, because that will happen, it happens all the time to me. What's most important here is that you have the tools to override that. So you stay on a forward kind of trajectory. So I'm curious to hear from you, Stephen. I've talked a little bit about my experience or kind of my perspective, some of my perspective on mindset. But what do you think? What mindset do you think entrepreneurs need to have to cultivate or position themselves for success? Or what mindset do you embrace yourself?
Yeah, I think about kind of a simple mantra of three phrases. I am. Regardless of my business, regardless of what's going on, whether it's going good, this whole idea is I am. The next one is I can. That in spite of the no's that we may experience in our face or setbacks or whatever, that we can figure out a solution to the problem that we may face. And so this whole idea of I am, and then I will. So much of this is about through perseverance, determination, and dedication. And so I am, I can, I will. And I think having that type of mindset and having to think about that as a mantra will help us move through the ebbs and flows of the entrepreneurial journey. So the second key element to cultivate your inner foundation is your resiliency and faith practices. Now, resiliency and faith practices are those things that you integrate into your life to help you ground and to help you bounce back from challenges or when you've fallen down or disappointments and failures. And this is particularly important because the entrepreneurial journey will not always be roses and rainbows. There will be times where it feels really tough. You feel like quitting. You feel like, you don't know if you can continue on. And part of it's like, how do you dig down deep and muster the dedication, the determination to actually take your next bold step forward, in spite of when it may seem like you're stepping into uncertainty. And so those kind of practices, I think, are important when you think about what are those things that help you get up when you've fallen down or when you've been disappointed. What helps you to keep on going on the journey? And so, Kimberly, what do you do to slay the internal dragons, to navigate roadblocks, to get fired up and ready to go that might be instructive for entrepreneurs or inspire entrepreneurs?
For me, one of the things that I do is I start the day with gratitude. When I'm hitting a big challenge, gratitude just has so much energy and it can shift kind of my perspective and really set the stage for a better mindset, more intentional and more positive actions moving forward, and really using the morning to do that, to set the day up well. I also get out in nature quite a bit, and it's a practice of resiliency, really, because it helps me to kind of retune myself to where I need to be. I will say for me, especially over the past, 7 years or so, doing Muay Thai has been amazing for me and being able to slay those internal dragons. So for me, it might be Muay Thai. For more generally speaking, I would just say move your body, because in Muay Thai or in running, I push myself beyond my limits because it allows me to see that I can do this thing. I can do this thing. And if I can do this thing, I can do other things. I tell my daughter all the time, I can do hard things and she can do hard things. And so she'll turn around and say, Mama, you can do hard things. So it's also just saying that to myself, even when I just told myself I can't. No, we're going to combat that and change that. And sometimes I just like look in the mirror and I'm like, look, I need to hype myself up. Today we're going to get hyped up and I'm going to be the best hype woman for myself. So that those are a few things for myself, and you really have to think about what works well for you. What works well for you, and to try out new things. So I'll shift to the last key element quickly, and that is community. I feel like this is very much connected to resilience. It is very much connected to mindset as well. They're all kind of related to one another, and your community is your circle of support. And this is connected to the African concept of Ubuntu, which means humanity. I am because you are. We are all connected. This may not always translate well in society given the challenges that we face, but there is interconnectedness that is present. And many of us, I saw this during the height of the pandemic. People who would have never spoken to each other coming together in ways that supported each other in community. And how I show up for others in community, because I am connected, how I show up for others and be present with others will set the stage for how others show up for me. And community continues to be one of the greatest gifts that we can provide entrepreneurs who are a part of our accelerator program that we offer for social entrepreneurs in their early stages. And time again, fellows who leave our program say that is the thing that they find most value. And yeah, there's value in knowledge. Yeah, there's value in just, building their business. But what is going to sustain them is the community that they have around them. So, Stephen, what are the types of people that you have as a part of your community, and what do they provide, that you value and that you need? And I'm saying this also knowing that not everybody has community. So for people who need to establish that for themselves, what should they be looking for?
Yeah, so I think, what I would say is that a person who can call you on your stuff and say, no, I see you, I know you, and this is not the direction for you. Who can call me back to myself and to recognize that I don't have to cut corners or to go into deals or opportunities that I know that probably is not in me or, the thing that I'm trying to do is best interest. So you have to have people who say no. And then you have to have folks who are your cheerleaders, your biggest fan. They are your hype person or whatever, to let you know that you can do this when times are really hard and you don't feel like you can actually get it done. And I would say that, for those who may not have community, there are a lot of kind of meetup groups and other types of things around different cities in the entrepreneurial space. And sometimes it's about trying to find other folks who are just like you, who don't have a community, who's looking for a community. And your community doesn't have to always be local. Sometimes it can be online. You can even come to like I Do Get X LinkedIn page, and you can find others who might be a part of the community in that regards.
If you enjoyed this conversation today and want to take your entrepreneurial journey to the next level, go to dogetx.org/podcast. Here you can subscribe to our email to keep posted on our resources and join that shameless plug that Stephen mentioned of our Do Get X LinkedIn community, where we share tools and tips and provide entrepreneurs and change makers with a community of support. It just might be your first step toward creating or expanding the community that you need or desire. We look forward to joining you next time.
Thank you for listening to the Do Good X podcast. To continue the conversation or access our resources, visit www.dogoodx.org. Join us again for conversations that will nourish your soul, ignite your dreams, and empower you to build an impactful business, one intentional step at a time. Until then, keep striving, thriving, and doing good.